Perfection is slowing down your business growth. Today, we're talking all about why your need to be perfect that is keeping you stuck. So, hey, my name is Salen. I am your fun business coach. I help six-figure women entrepreneurs integrate the 4 core pillars that every successful business needs into their business over a 90-day period so your business is scale ready to $1 million and beyond, because $1 million is the sweet spot. It's where you find not only time and financial freedom, but it's where you can make the biggest impact on not only your life, but the life of others. And so let's talk about why you might be feeling stuck. Perfectionism. So I was having a conversation with a client the other day, and she was like, I'm feeling so stuck. And I was like, well, let's break down what you're feeling stuck about. And she was saying, that she wanted to launch this newsletter. And I was like, okay, great. But she's like, I don't have like the template right. I don't have the language that I want to do. I can't seem to get Canva to look right. I don't know what to say, like all of these different kinds of things. And I was like, well, what is the purpose of this newsletter? And she's like, I want to inspire other women in their life to get like their best life, like live their best life. And I said to her, so you striving to get all the things done so perfectly is holding that information back, which essentially is kind of selfish because your goal is to help other women. Am I hearing that right? And she stopped and she looked at me and she was like, oh my gosh, you're right. And I was like, well, it's not about me being right. It's about the fact that your mind wants everything to go out in this like perfect, pretty, polished manner. And that's great. Like we all want to come across like we have our stuff together, right? Like it's funny to talk about being like living in chaos and being a hot mess and those kinds of things. Like we joke about that. But the problem is underlying, we do that because we don't want to be made fun of. We don't want someone to call us out that we're not perfect. And we don't want to put ourselves out there. But the problem is when we don't put ourselves out there, what happens is A, our business doesn't grow, but B, we're not able to make that impact that so many of us are committed to wanting to do. Like this, you talk about having this passion to help people in this purpose, in this mission, and all of these different kinds of things. But if you don't put yourself out there, then no one's ever going to know about that passion, purpose, and mission that you want to do. And so we dove into this a little bit more and we really broke down what was needed to get out her newsletter. She didn't need to have some nice, pretty template. She didn't need to have this beautiful Canva like header on her newsletter. She didn't need like all of that stuff. She didn't need to have the perfect written newsletter to get it out. All she really needed to do was just write from her soul and get it out. This was going to be her first edition. And so I said to her, what would you tell yourself, right? Because she's telling her like own story. I said, what would you tell yourself, back when you were in that situation? And she went on and she told me all the things. And I'm like, that's what you need to write down. I'm like, I'm going to send you this recording if you want, just transcribe it and, put that in the newsletter. And she was like, and she said to me like this question that really hit me. And it was, can it be that simple? And at first I was like, what does she mean? And I was like, yeah, it really can be that simple. And so this was like a big epiphany for her because she had been trying to get this newsletter out now for, gosh, I don't even know. I think it's been 2 months. And her goal was to get it out in like the summer, and then she was going to do like the fall, and now it's looking like fourth quarter. And I'm like, can you get this newsletter out next week? And she was like, based on this conversation, yes. And I was like, okay. And I said, then we'll work on the next one, right? And so here's the thing is I think so many of us have used perfection, and I'm guilty of this, as a crutch in order to keep working on things and keep us in our comfort zone, which is basically like, oh, well, if I keep working on it and keep striving to make it perfect, then I won't have to put myself out there. And if there is like something that's off, a mistake, a spelling error, a picture doesn't load, like something doesn't happen, I send it on the wrong day and time, whatever the heck it is, then no one's going to call me out on it and I don't have to feel embarrassed. Well, I can tell you, like, no one wants to feel embarrassed. In this week's Sunday Shift newsletter, I talk about how comedians who tell jokes and want to get laughs, they don't want to be the butt of the joke. They want to make people laugh, right? So even people whose career is to make people laugh, they don't want to be laughed at. They want to be laughed with, right? And so you really have to think about the mindset shift of why you're striving for perfection. So I was brought up by a mother who strove for perfection in spelling, grammar, professionalism. She always taught me like what you put out there represents yourself, right? How I dress, how I present myself, how I put things on paper, how I write things down, like all of those different kinds of things. And so when I still was working in a 9-to-5 job, I would reread things literally 4 or 5 times. Like I was probably like the most amazing proofreader because I was so intent on not letting anything get out there that had a mistake. And I guess I was kind of known for that. And I'll never forget, in the last job I had put up flyers for something or other. And this woman who I think liked me, but really didn't like me because she thought I was perfect and that like irritated her, came up to me and she was like, I just noticed the flyer you put up has a mistake in it. And I was like, okay. And I didn't feel necessarily like embarrassed. I was almost like disappointed in myself that I hadn't caught something. And I was really like upset that I was called out on this. And so I immediately, went and got all the flyers I had hung up and fixed it and then rehung them all back up. But when I became an entrepreneur and things started moving at lightning speed, I realized that I couldn't strive for perfection if I truly wanted to grow and scale, because people aren't perfect, right? And this was really brought home to me when I started managing, hundreds of team members in the field. They were going to make mistakes. The caregiver was going to break the lamp. They were going to break the curtain. Something was going to get broken in someone's home. It was just life, right? And so I realized that I could no longer control perfection because it wasn't just me. I had a team of 150 people and I couldn't control everything. My company could not be perfect because I could not physically be with those 150 people controlling them to make the situation perfect. And so very early on in business, it was definitely within that first year, I had to release control and release that need for perfection. Now, mind you, we always strove to do our best. But when I got the call from the office that, Susie had broken a lamp at Mrs. Smith's house, it was like, okay, like that stinks, but fix it. You know what I mean? Like, fix the lamp, buy a new one, do whatever we got to do, apologize. Like, stuff's going to happen. And by me releasing that need for myself and my company and my team to be perfect, it took so much pressure off of everyone. Sure, we still strove for success and to be number one in our industry, in our territory, and all of those different kinds of things. But I allowed myself and my team to make mistakes and not feel like the world was going to end. They knew that if they made a mistake, that I wasn't going to freak out on them. Like, I was just like, okay, fix it. Like, I remember when one of my team members, it was snowing, we were in Massachusetts, and she called me. Well, actually, the manager called me and was like, hey, she just cracked up the car. And I was like, okay, is she okay? And she was like, yeah, she's fine, but she's like hysterical. And I was like, okay, put her on the phone. And I talked to her and she's crying hysterically, right? And I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, are you really okay? And she's like, yeah. She's like, but the car. And I was just like, okay, like, what are you going to do? You're okay. It's a car. We'll fix it. No big deal. Like, and I don't think she had ever had someone in her life that allowed her to like feel that way about, a pretty big mistake, but it was a mistake. It was snowing, like stuff happens kind of deal. And so she instantly was like, like, I'm not going to get fired. I'm not going to get yelled at, right? Like, it's okay. And so I want you to think about what your perfection is not only causing you to be stuck in business, but how it's also affecting other people in your life, in your business, on your team. Like, when your social media manager, the other day, my social media manager posted the same thing. I don't know, like, what happened. I didn't even message her. I was just like, oh, well, the same reel went out twice. Like, no big deal. Like, it's not the end of the world. No one died. Like, nothing happened, right? And those things happen. And so I want you to think about, is striving for perfection in your business and your personal life holding you back and causing you a ripple effect, which is essentially holding your business back, and what you're going to do about it. So a lot of what I do with clients is we talk about these different kinds of things. So if you have been feeling stuck in business and it's because you're striving to do something perfectly, and you want to dig into this and come up with a solution that feels good and something that you can be proud of to put out there, then I would encourage you to book a complimentary scale strategy session. What we'll do is we'll dig into what it is that you're stuck on, and then put a plan in place that feels good to you to get it out there, and a timeline, so that way you can get stuck out of that like overthinking and perfectionism and get it out there, get some data from it, and then use that data to really grow your business. So that's what I have for you today. Is I want you to think about what perfection in your life is not only holding your business back, but is also holding other things, people in your life back, and what that perfectionism is keeping you stuck and not allowing you to make the impact that you were brought here in this world to make. So that's what I have for you this week. As always, sharing is caring. If you find this valuable, then I encourage you to share this live with someone or tag them in the comments. I will not be here next week, but I will see you the week afterwards. And if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have not read this week's Sunday Shift newsletter, all about perfection, comment newsletter, I'll send you the link. And if you want to get on that scale strategy session, comment scale, and we can get a time on my calendar where we can break down what is actually holding you back. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week, and I will see you later.